Welcome to eTRANSERVICES SmartSimple Cloud webinar series. Our webinar today is titled SmartSimple Reports, Build a Report That's Not a Bear. This webinar is focused on discovering how to create effective, efficient, SmartSimple reports without overengineering or unnecessary frustration. The ideal audience for today's webinar are SmartSimple administrators and staff users. Just a note for today's session, it is being recorded and it will be posted on our YouTube channel. I'm Karina Quinn, and I'll be the facilitator for our webinar today. Therefore, if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to type them into the chat, as I will be monitoring this throughout to make sure that all of our questions are answered during our Q&A session. We do have our entire digital services team here today to answer any and all of your questions. So that being said, now I'd like to introduce our presenters for today. Going over our presentation will be Andrew Chin, a configuration specialist for our digital services team at eTRANSERVICES. And providing the live demo portion of today's presentation will be Daniel Mbawe, a solution designer for our digital services team. Now I pass the mic over to Andrew, who'll be presenting today's webinar. Welcome, Andrew. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Karina. Everyone. Before we begin, just a quick note about our digital services team at eTRANSERVICES. We specialize in the design and implementation of grants management systems and other automated business solutions using SmartSimple Cloud or our white-labeled FedRAMP compliant version, UniPass. Here's a quick overview of our topics today. First, we'll talk about list views as an alternative to Report Builder. Then we will focus on Report Builder and its differences from list views. From there, we will cover pre-planning steps before building, efficient report building tips, and common pitfalls to avoid, followed by a live demo from Daniel. After the demo, we will wrap up with a short Q&A session. So what is a list view? A list view is essentially a customizable table where each row is a record and each column represents a field of that record. List views are ideal for day-to-day operational work. They are quick to build and easy to sort and filter using a GUI interface. They let you choose what data you want to see from your records in a customized view, and they help you quickly organize those records. List views also allow you to update multiple fields on many records at the same time with the batch update feature. For example, you can update multiple deadlines on a set of applications simultaneously instead of one at a time. Finally, the data from list views can be easily shared by using the export feature or via the group email feature. Now, what is Report Builder? Report Builder is the SmartSimple feature that lets you create a report by pulling together data from multiple data sets, in contrast to list views, which usually has only a single data set. Report Builder's ability to choose multiple data sets allows for larger and more complex reports. The sorting and filtering capability in Report Builder can use formulas based on field value calculations to create advanced filter criteria. For example, you can calculate the days left before a deadline field and then filter for records within a certain range of. In Report Builder, you can group aggregate data, which allows you to summarize the data in groups with counts, sums, and averages. As with list views, data can be exported as a spreadsheet, but many more columns of data can be included with Report Builder. Here we have a table showing the main differences between list views and Report Builder. For day-to-day work, list views provide a quick interactive list of records versus reports, which are typically used for a more detailed look for later analysis. List views can show up to 10 columns of data before performance starts to be affected, whereas Report Builder can have much more than 10 columns included in an expected report. Both list views and Report Builder allow you to search for records quickly. List views have a convenient GUI interface to build and reuse saved filters, while Report Builder can use complex filter formulas across multiple data sets. Some unique feature differences between list views and Report Builder are that list views can bulk update records, provide quick edits, and even trigger workflows on multiple records, while Report Builder has the ability to schedule reports in advance for export or use the report property feature to make calculations in other parts of the system. Here we have some pre-planning tips before deciding which tool to use. The first tip is to identify your audience and the data needs that they require. Is the information going to be seen by, for example, by applicants, reviewers, or board members? Each audience has their own individual requirements on what they consider to be important. Second tip is to know which data sources and fields to include. As a starting point, make a list of data sets and their related fields that you want to add. Take note if some information may need to be calculated from existing field values. The third tip is to identify the criteria for your report or list view. By identifying key criteria fields early, it will help you narrow down the set of valid records for your final report or list view. This will also help confirm the total number of records you expect to see. And finally, you can choose which tool to use. List Views or Report Builder is the best tool for your purposes. For this section, we'll focus on building efficient reports in Report Builder, starting small and then gradually building up to your final report. At the start, you should identify several test records where those records have the information you want to display. Then you will build an initial report with those records in mind and maybe even filter for those specific records by ID. This will help to concentrate the report on the fields and values that you expect to see. When building the report, it helps to add one data source at a time. For each data source, add identifying fields that will help you see your test records, such as name, type, status, and ID, even if those fields are not going to be included in your final report. As you build your report, preview the report and save often to make sure the fields chosen are the correct fields, as there could be fields that have similar names but the wrong data. Some helpful common fields for initial reports are the index field to help confirm counts, the open button field, which helps you go to the record directly and confirm field names and values. Adding common record identifying fields like level ID, name, subject, type, and status to confirm the correct records are being shown. Another tip is to create a draft report for development purposes and then duplicate that report into a leaner final version. This will allow you to experiment with different criteria or changes to the report without breaking the final report. To keep records maintainable, keep reporting naming conventions clear and consistent. Use the description to summarize the purpose of the report, and use report categories to group related reports together. For reporting functions and formulas, test formulas and calculations in new columns to help build the formula and see what each part of the formula is doing. Use reporting aggregation functions like sum, average, and counts last after confirming that all current records shown are confirmed to be correct. Lastly, here are some common pitfalls that you may find. Building overcomplicated reports, having more than 30 plus columns, or skipping validation and testing. These pitfalls can be avoided by incrementally building, previewing, and saving your reports as you go along. The validation checklist here on the right can be used as a guide to help test your reports. You can use the variable syntax checker in configuration mode on a record for checking values and field names. You can compare the expected record count versus the actual record count on the report. You can spot check with list views to quickly validate record counts and field values. Lastly, you can use a summary report versus a detailed report to help validate records and data. A summary report is basically a separate report without any criteria or grouping of records. Thanks for your attention, and now to Daniel, who will continue with a demonstration of list views and report builder.
Thank you, Andrew. All right, so let me quickly switch to my screen. All right, thank you. So following up the presentation, we're gonna do a small demo of list views and the reports. And what we wanna do first is determine what kind of list view we're gonna build. So we have determined we wanna create a simple one just to give you an idea of how list view and reports work. So we're gonna do a list of payments with a scheduled date in the next 30 days. So to achieve this, I'm gonna go to our grants manager, and then under our activities, just do a quick search and see how many records in total we have. So we have a payment type, and then we're gonna do a schedule. So how many payments are scheduled? So we can see we have 10. So once you have an idea of, okay, we are dealing with 10 kind of records, you might have more. So the first thing we're gonna create, we're gonna start with the list view. So under systems list view, you have your cogwheel. When you click on that, brings a list of list views that you have, your system and personal ones. So we're gonna create a new one. We're gonna give it a name. So the name we're gonna give is payments schedule next 30 days. We're gonna leave everything for default at the moment. Andrew mentioned about giving description. So a bit of description for your other system administrators to be able to know what the list view was. And also, so we're gonna add the first column we're gonna add will be our row index, which will give us the number. And then we're gonna look for grant, under grants, we're gonna look for grant ID. And then next will be our type, which we are looking for the activity type. And then next will be our status. And then we're gonna do a schedule date. So we can see our schedule, and then we have our payment amount. All right. So once you have those, click on save, just to be able to save your list view. And then when we close out of here, then we're gonna go look for our list view. So we have our list view here, click on that, and it gives us the 10 records. So the next piece, after having your list view ready, we want to determine the filter. So the filter is we want to see records that are due or are scheduled the next 30 days. So on our advanced search, common fields, just leave common fields, just make sure it's on the activity common fields. And then we're going to look at our scheduled date. So the beauty about list views, for the filter option, we do have predefined formulas for you. So you can be able to use that's already developed here. For reports, you will have to create one from scratch. So that's the kind of other difference that Andrew mentioned. So we're going to look at within the next X days, and we're going to put 30. So from here, you can do your search if you want to just search for it, but we want to save it so that we can be able to use it on our list view. So we're gonna name this payment schedule 30 days. So the difference between user filter and system filter is when we leave it as user filter, you will be only one, as you saw the personal filters, it will be only personal to you. And when we use system filter, it will be available to all other users, system admin who are creating filters on your system. So, and then for the store, we're gonna store our status and our type. We're gonna leave this checked off, because if you have it on, then we won't be able. You will only be able to see the filter on when you're doing a configuration only, but your users won't be able to see it. So we just leave it as is. So everything looks good. Click on Save As. All right, so as you can see, filters do appear here. If we had the configuration on, then it won't show up here. So you can either run it straight from here, but we want it to be part of our list view. So we'll come to the filter option here, and then select payment schedule 30 days. All right, then click on save. All right, so in the next 30 days, we have 4 payments that are scheduled. So in the next 30 days, we need to kind of monitor whatever you want to do with the for payments. All right, so we are done with the activities. Not activities, the list view. Let's go to our reports. So under the waffle, hopefully you're not hungry because also it's lunchtime. So under the waffle, we go to reports, and then we're gonna look at creating a new report. So we click on new report. So from here, we're gonna create our new report, give it a name. So something's pretty much, we're doing the same thing, just to show you the difference between the two. Give it a description, and then let's save. So if it's your first time building a report, you might be, for me, it was a bit hard because I didn't know where to start. Someone said go to reports, but there's this tab up here. It's mini waffle. So it's a report builder. So you click on that. That's how you start your report builder. The next piece will be determining what kind of data set you want on your report. So the difference between the report and the list view, the reports you can be able to combine or join 2 or 3 data sets which are from different UTAs. So for us, we're gonna start with our grant. So go to grants, then save. And then the next piece that we want will be activities. We connect with the grants, and then we're gonna use base link, and then we're gonna show all data from our parent dataset. And then click on OK, save, and then now we want the organization because we would like to categorize those payments, payment schedule by organization. So on the report side of things, organizations are under the company. So that's what you want to pick. And then we're going to connect with the grants. Then you use our organization link. And then we're going to say, show all from parent dataset. And then click on save. All right. So once we have that, so the next piece will be adding fields. So I think we might need to double mark that. So let's say 8. And then the first thing we like is under the organization, we want to get the organization name. There you go. And then we just pretty much add the fields that we had before. So I'm going to look for the grant ID. And then we're going to look for our activity type. So for this one, we'll pretty much change the caption. So you're able to change the caption. And then for the activity, so we're gonna do the status, it's different pronunciation. And then after the status, we're gonna do our scheduled date. Spend that a little bit. Then last piece will be our payment amount. All right. So, all right. So we wanna save this. As Andrew mentioned, we wanna do a step. You wanna see if your data is being populated. So we have 202. So we're gonna double that. So go back to the build report, and then we wanna do, so for your criteria, we wanna do equals payment. Then for our status, we wanna do schedule, right? Then we're gonna build that. All right, nice. So we have 10, which is similar to what we had for our list view. All right, so the next piece will be, the reason why you see we have 2 extra columns here is to help us with our criteria. So what we wanna do is, we're gonna do criteria 1, criteria 2, and then we want to use the date diff function. So in report builder, they have this on your bottom left. You have a different, pretty much a help tool that can be able to help you determine which functions to use. So for us, we are going for the date functions, and date diff is what we want to use. All right, so we're gonna put date diff on our formula. Right, and then we wanna save that. Let's preview. All right, so as you can see, our criteria, we have 20, all these numbers. So what we want to do is we want to kind of add greater than equal signs and things like that to be able to determine dates in between. So anything that's greater than 0, so that means anything that's today and today going forward. And then we want anything that's less than 30, less than or equals to 30 days, right? And then we want to run that. All right, so it gives us the 4 records. So you can see this is how it helps us determine which records to keep. So once you have that, then you don't need these fields, so we're gonna hide them. And then the next piece, we wanna show you the group by. So we want it to look nice. So first we wanna do our group by organization. So we're gonna total group by for the organization piece. And then we're gonna go for our sum. So we're gonna total group by sum, and then here we're gonna use the display label. And then I just wanna align everything to the right. All right, so we're gonna save this. Close out on that. Drum roll, please. All right, so that's what we have for now. For the report, I'm gonna quickly show you the export side of things. So if you wanna export it to Excel, so you click on Excel, any other function that you have that you would like to receive the format on. And then once we preview this and then export, so just give it time to export. We're gonna export it there. And then we're gonna open it. All right, so this is how it looks like. So you can send it to either your accountant or anyone who's working on your payment. So that's it for now. And I'll give it back to Karina to take us through the Q&A session. Thank you.
Great presentation and demo. Thank you both, Andrew and Daniel. Now for our Q&A session, we have our entire digital services team here to answer all questions. I'm also now monitoring the chat for any of these questions that come in, so go ahead and start dropping them in. But before we get started with our Q&A session, and as we wait for these questions, I wanted to let you all know that on the screen, this is our QR code that will give you access to our YouTube channel, where the recording will be posted by the end of the week, and links to our social media sites as well as our website, so you can follow us for more upcoming webinars. Does the order of the data sets in the report matter? I'll go ahead and pass that over to our digital services team to answer.
Does anybody want to take that one? Or I'll Andy, if you want to
No,
address it.
you can go ahead, Jamie.
This is the most often asked question, and the answer is it can matter. What we end up doing a lot of times is trying it first the most logical way. So if you have, let's say, a data set where you have level 1 and level 2 within a UTA data that you want to see, we usually start with the higher level, so the like sort of parent of that hierarchy. And then the second data set would be the level 2. Sometimes the report, depending on how you group the report or how you want to visualize the information, sometimes that works perfectly and sometimes it doesn't. And so you have to be a little bit flexible and say, you know, kind of just think in your mind, like, if this is not going to work, I'm going to reverse the data sets and start with the level 2 first and then go to the level 1. But it does depend on what kind of data you're linking together. I would always start sort of at the top of the kind of hierarchy, if you will. Hopefully that answers the question. And I don't know if maybe anybody else wants to add anything to that. I mean, the real answer is it depends. Oh, can we walk through the date diff formula? Yeah, we could do that. Daniel, if you want to bring your screen back up.
Yes. All right. So yeah, that's a good question. And I did meant to explain why. So the reason why you have the 5, that means the column. So this is the column where the date lives in, right? So if this date was on a 4, column 4, then we'll put 4 there. So that's the difference. That's why we use the 5 there.
It's just a reference to the column number. So you can use those extra columns in the report for additional criteria. And if you want to just refer back to the original column that contains the field that you're doing the query on. So you just put it in those square brackets, just the column number. You have to be careful about that though, because if you switch the order of the columns around and your date field, let's say, moves to a different column, then your criteria is not going to work any longer. So you just have to be careful once you have the report built, don't move the columns around. Otherwise it'll break it.
Or you can move your columns around, but you need to update your formula.
You have to update it. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a good question though.
Awesome. Thanks, team. And thank you so much to all of our attendees for joining us today. Please, if you have any more questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We're still here for a few more minutes, but for everyone else, I hope you can take away from this webinar some new ideas and recommendations for making your SmartSimple applications more complete and accurate. Please feel free to contact our team if we haven't addressed all of your questions today, or if you have any ideas for other webinars topics that you would like to see in the future. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you all for joining us today.